The call came in at 2:14. No name. No panic. Just an address, spoken clearly. Then the line went dead. A public phone. East Cardise. Industrial sector. I remember checking the system twice because I thought it had to be a mistake. Those phones barely worked anymore. Most of them were disconnected, left standing like props. Dispatch asked me to repeat the address. I did. No one corrected it. By the time I arrived, the street was empty. Wide road. Warehouses on both sides. No traffic. No witnesses. The building was supposed to be abandoned. 3 floors. Old municipal property. Windows dark. 1 door open. That should have been the first sign. But at that hour, in that part of the city, everything felt wrong by default. I went in alone. The smell hit me first. Not decay. Not blood. Something metallic. Clean. Almost sterile. My flashlight caught the body before I understood what I was looking at. Male. Late 40s, maybe early 50s. Uniform confirmed him as private security. Night patrol for the factories nearby. He was positioned carefully. Too carefully. There was no blood on the floor. None on the walls. None on me. That didn't make sense. It still doesn't. I called it in. My voice sounded calm. It didn't feel like mine. Backup arrived. Then forensics. Then silence. Everyone moved slower than usual, like the room was setting the pace. At the station, the report took longer than it should have. Details didn't line up. Times didn't either. When Homicide reviewed the file, they escalated it immediately. That's when they brought in Detective Callum Houl. I didn't know him then. Only the reputation. Cases that closed without answers. Scenes that stopped spreading. He read the photos. All of them. Didn't ask questions. Then he looked at me. You took the call, he said. Yes. You went in first. Yes. He nodded once. Then you stay on this. That was it. No reassurance. No explanation. Later, when they found the phone, it was wiped. No prints. No call history. No reason it should have worked at all. I thought about that voice. Steady. Almost relieved. Like the call wasn't asking for help. Like it was checking in. By morning, the building was sealed. Yellow tape. Temporary barriers. A single patrol unit parked outside, more symbolic than useful. I was told to go home. I didn't. I stayed because the report wasn't finished. And because once you see a scene like that, sleep stops being an option. The body went to the Cardise City morgue before sunrise. No media. No internal alerts. Just another transfer logged under industrial incident. That label didn't last long. I stood behind the glass while the examination started. Gloves. Instruments laid out with care. The room was quiet in the way hospitals always are before something goes wrong. The cuts were clean. Too clean. Not rushed. Not improvised. There was no tearing. No defensive damage. No sign of a struggle. And still no blood. That was the part no one wanted to comment on. So we didn't. When they opened the torso, everything changed. This wasn't mutilation. It was placement. Folded material. Thin. Weathered. Paper. Not shoved in. Not hidden. Arranged. Someone said it looked deliberate. Someone else said nothing. The papers were damp but intact. Old municipal maps. Industrial zoning. Utility routes. East Cardise. I recognized the markings before anyone said it out loud. Patrol paths. Security routes. Night schedules. The victims' routes. This wasn't a message to us. It was a record. When the pathologist finished, the room stayed silent longer than necessary. She didn't bleed here, someone said finally. No, another voice replied. He didn't bleed anywhere. That went into the report. Then it was softened. Then it disappeared. By mid-morning, Internal Affairs was already circling, not asking questions, just reminding people to stay aligned. I was pulled aside in the hallway. "You're staying available," my supervisor said. "Don't talk to press, don't speculate, don't improvise." I asked if there were similar cases. He didn't answer right away. "There were incidents," he said finally. "Nothing we could connect. Not like this." That was enough. By the time Detective Callum Houl arrived, the maps were already boxed. Evidence sealed. Chain of custody perfect. He didn't go to the scene. Didn't need to. He stood over the table, looked at the photographs, then the maps. "This isn't the first," he said. "No," someone replied. "It won't be the last either," he said. That wasn't an opinion. It sounded like scheduling. The first location on the map was 6 blocks from the body. Warehouse Row. Steel fences. Broken lights that never got replaced. East Cardise always looked like it was waiting for something to happen. Most nights, nothing did. Houl brought me along because I knew the patrol routes. Because I'd walked them. Because the map matched my memory too closely to ignore. We didn't go in loud. No sirens. No uniforms drawing attention. Just us and a pair of marked cars kept back on the main road. The warehouse door wasn't locked. It didn't need to be. Inside, the floor was clean. Swept. No footprints. No blood. No signs of a struggle. That was becoming a pattern. Houl crouched near a column. Ran a finger along the concrete. Stopped. "Here," he said. I didn't see it at first. Then I did. A shallow groove, barely visible, like something heavy had been dragged, slowly, carefully. "This isn't a dump site," I said. "No," Houl replied. "It's a station." That word sat wrong. We followed the groove to a service corridor at the back. Narrow, low ceiling, old electrical panels lining the wall. One of them was open. Inside, taped to the metal, was another map. Smaller. More precise. This one wasn't about routes. It was about timing. Dates. Hours. Intervals. I felt my throat tighten. "These are night shifts," I said. "Security rotations." "Yes," Houl said, "and they're accelerating." I asked him what that meant. "It means he adjusted," he said. After the first body, that was when the call came in. Another public phone. Different block. Same voice. Calm. Measured. No screams. No demands. Just coordinates. I listened from the side as dispatch patched it through. "He says he wants to make sure we're paying attention," the operator said. Houl took the receiver. "You have our attention," he said. There was a pause, longer than before. Then the voice replied. "You didn't misunderstand me last time," it said. "That's good." Houl didn't answer. "I followed what was already there," the voice continued. "I just traced it." "Stay where you are," Houl said. The line went dead. We were already moving. The second address led us deeper into the industrial grid, a zone scheduled for demolition. Power intermittent. Cameras outdated. The kind of place no one watched closely anymore. As we approached, I realized something I hadn't before. Every location on the map wasn't random. They formed a shape. Not a symbol. Not a message. A perimeter. Whatever he was doing, he wasn't hiding. He was building towards something. And we were late. The second site was already active when we arrived. Not police. Utilities. 2 city trucks parked crooked near the loading bay. Lights on. Engines running. That wasn't scheduled. We shut everything down before anyone could ask why. Badges out. Names logged. No explanations. Inside, the air felt different. Cooler. Still. The floor was concrete again. Clean again. Marked again. Not with cuts. With placement. The body was seated upright against the far wall. Male. Mid-50s. Same uniform class. Different company. Hands resting on his knees. Head angled slightly down. As if waiting. No blood. No damage to the room. The wound was precise. Internal. Contained. It took a second to understand why the floor was dry. He hadn't been injured here. This place wasn't where it happened. This was where he was finished. I checked the time. 2:19. That mattered. The maps from the first body lined up with this location too. Same grid, same intervals. Houl didn't look at the corpse for long. He looked at the walls, at the spacing, at the angles, at the distance between the door and the body. This is calibration, he said quietly. I didn't ask what for. Forensics confirmed what we already knew. No defensive wounds, no signs of restraint, no panic, which meant cooperation, or something close to it. The victim had been on night rotation for 8 years. No enemies, no write-ups, no reason to be here, except that he always passed through this sector at the same time. Every week, every shift. That was the common point. The killer wasn't choosing people. He was choosing schedules. By the time we left, the building was sealed like the first. Same procedures. Same paperwork. Same phrases. But this time, internal affairs stayed quiet. They already knew. Back at the precinct, Houl laid the maps out across an empty table. 3 bodies now. 3 points. 1 missing space. I saw it before he said anything. There was room for 1 more. Not somewhere hidden. Not somewhere remote. Right in the middle of the grid. A place with cameras. With foot traffic. With oversight. Somewhere that would force a response. He's compressing the window, I said. Yes, Houl replied. He's almost done. I asked him how much time we had. He didn't answer. Instead, he gathered the maps. Folded them carefully. Like they mattered. He wants us present for the last one, he said. Not to stop it. To confirm it. That was when the system flagged a new activity. Not a call. Not a report. A public phone had been lifted. And this time, the address was already ours. We reached the address before the call finished ringing. An old substation. Municipal property on paper. Forgotten in practice. No lights. No cameras that mattered. Just concrete and rust. Houl didn't wait for backup. That should have scared me. It didn't. The door was already open. Inside, something was wrong immediately. Not quiet. Not still. Movement. Fast. Unfocused. A figure crossed the corridor ahead of us. Barefoot. Too fast for the space. "Police!" I shouted. The response was laughter. Sharp. Almost relieved. He came at us without warning. Not charging. Testing. Close enough that I could see his face. Eyes wide. Jaw clenched. Like he was holding something back. "You're late," he said. Not angry. Accusatory. He grabbed a piece of metal from the floor and swung it blindly. No technique. Just force. Houl stepped in front of me. 1 motion. Controlled. Efficient. The man fought like he didn't care if he lived. Or if we did. It took 3 of us to get him down. Hands shaking. Breathing uneven. Spitting words that didn't connect. "You don't understand," he kept saying. "You don't understand what it feels like when it lines up." Then it stopped. Not gradually. Instantly. His body went slack. His breathing slowed. His eyes focused. He looked at me like he was seeing the room for the first time. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I think there's been a mistake." The shift was so complete, it felt rehearsed. But it wasn't. He let us cuff him. Sat on the floor. Back straight. Hands steady. He asked for water. Used my name. I hadn't told him my name. As we walked him out, he turned his head slightly. Not toward Houl. Toward me. "I didn't start it," he said. "I just stopped pushing back." I opened my mouth to respond. Houl shook his head once. Later, in the car, the man stared out the window. Calm. Observant. like someone who had already said everything he needed to say. Behind us, the building stayed dark. No alarms. No movement. Whatever had driven him there was already quiet. Contained. For now, they found the room behind a false wall. Not hidden well, just ignored. The door was unlocked. No resistance. No alarms. The lights came on all at once. At first, it looked like storage. Chairs. Tables. Clothing folded neatly on the floor. Then the shapes made sense. Bodies. Preserved. Positioned. Men and women. Different ages. Different conditions. Dressed for an evening out. Suits. Dresses. Polished shoes. They were arranged in pairs. Hands placed carefully. Faces turned toward each other, like music had stopped mid-step. No signs of struggle. No signs of panic. Everything was clean. Maintained. Someone had taken their time. I stood in the doorway longer than I should have, trying to understand the intention, not the method. Behind me, the man we arrested watched the room without reacting. "This is where it ended," he said calmly. "No more adjustments." I turned to him. His voice didn't match what we'd seen earlier. No strain. No agitation. "You did all this?" I asked. "Yes," he said, and then it stopped. He looked past me, toward the bodies. "They don't hurt anymore," he added. "Neither do I." I felt something tighten in my chest. Not fear. Recognition. "You're gonna blame me," he continued. "That's fine." He paused. Chose his words carefully. "But I didn't invent any of it. I just followed what was already pushing." Houl stepped between us. "That's enough," he said. The man nodded, almost relieved. Forensics took over. Photos. Measurements. Labels. The room lost its shape quickly. Turned procedural. Manageable. Houl spoke quietly to the team. Instructions I didn't hear. Before they took the man away, he looked at me once more. "You arrived at the right time," he said. "If you hadn't, I would have kept going." I didn't ask who I was anymore. Houl ordered the site sealed. Not closed. Sealed. No press. No internal briefings. Just paperwork that led nowhere public. As we left, I looked back at the room. It felt finished. Not because it was discovered, but because it had been completed. The paperwork took longer than the arrest. Statements. Signatures. Boxes checked in the right order. By the end of the week, the case had a number, then a status, then a drawer. The suspect was transferred quietly. No cameras. No press release. No summary beyond multiple counts, pending. The maps were removed from evidence. Reclassified. Filed separately. I asked why. "They complicate the timeline," my supervisor said. "Timeline of what?" I asked. He didn't answer. Houl signed off last. He didn't linger. Didn't review the room photos again. Just a clean line across the page. Before he left, he stopped next to my desk. "You did fine," he said. That was all. I went back to night rotation the following month. Different sector. Same hours. East Cardise didn't change. The routes stayed busy. The factories stayed lit. Phones kept working when they shouldn't. Once, during a routine call, a man laughed before hanging up. Not hysterical, just tired. I logged it. No follow-up. At home, I tried not to think about the room, about the way everything had been placed, about how finished it looked. What stayed with me wasn't the violence. It was the order. The man we arrested never denied what he'd done. In court, he spoke clearly, answered questions, corrected dates. When asked why, he said the same thing he told me. "I didn't choose it," he said. I stopped resisting. No one wrote that down. The files say the threat was neutralized, that the pattern ended, that the city responded appropriately. I know better now. Patterns don't end. They move. And sometimes, they wait for someone else to stop pushing back.